This is it. I finally got this bitch.
Hi, how are ya? I'm Fossil Daddy, and I have a very special guest today. I know I'm not normally on camera, but I didn't feel like animating an avatar today.
I hope you're selling diapers because I'm soaked.
Anyway, my special guest is actually a very, very good friend of mine, kind of like my brother from another mother, but rather than tell you who he is, I'm gonna let him tell you who he is. So, how would you like to go by so that I don't call you by your first name? I could call you Mary.
Sherry, she always said,
you could do so, you want...
Sherry, what the heck? She says, we'll work.
You know why I said Mary, by the way? Because she says seashells by the seashore.
Is that the one?
No, actually, it's she sells seashells by the seashore, but that was written for Mary Anning, who discovered the very first plesiosaur and ichthyosaur on the Jurassic coast of England. The more you know. And the seashells she was selling were actually ammonite fossils, but that is not the point of this video. So she says, tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, I already know everything about you because we go back, 20-something years, but like, you know, the children don't. Tell the children all about you.
Right. Fossil Daddy's very familiar with all the lore, but to the rest of you, I'm a very good friend of Fossil Daddy. We kind of go really far back, almost just basically a little bit after high school. We became friends. Funny enough, the reason why we became friends is because I saw that he had the Scaraba theme song from Earthbound on his MySpace page, and he was friends with another mutual friend that we had, so I was just like, hey, you know, I remember you from high school, and I didn't know you were a fan of Earthbound. It's kind of hard to find anybody that does, so it would be cool to hang out sometime or whatever. And he was like, yeah, we have a mutual friend that you seem to hang out with too, so we should all get together and hang out. So we kind of bonded over Earthbound, funny enough, and since then, over the years, we became great friends. We both ended up with online careers to some degree. I do a YouTube channel called Shesez with a show called Boundary Break. It's all about taking the camera out of bounds to try to find cool stuff.
And by far the coolest thing about this scene is that we have a cinematic King of Red Lions and a player King of Red Lions outside of the boundaries.
What? Oh. Okay.
And then Fossil Daddy moved on and clearly did this YouTube channel that you're watching right now. So we figured finally, after all this time, let's get together. And that thing that we're going to get together over is...
fucking Earthbound, and how fucking queer it is.
Yeah, we'll definitely like figure out how... oh geez, I gotta keep my mouth shut. I'm straight, so I don't get to throw around words like that.
Yes, you do.
I don't know.
You can throw, okay, on this channel, you're an ally, so you can throw all the words at me as long as they aren't that dreaded F word. Fairy.
Okay. Yeah.
And the other F word too, I guess.
Foresight, right.
You know, why is it, okay, like every slur I've ever been called has started with an F. It's like, okay, obviously it, and then fairy. I was called a fornicator once, like... why are they all...
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not
That's
wrong
a cool
either, but, like, a fornicating fairy? Hell yeah.
Yeah. It just makes you into, like, a mythical creature.
Look, he really is a fairy!
And he needs to work out.
So what do you think the cultural impact for the Mother series is? Like, obviously here in America, there wasn't, like, a huge cultural splash about it. In Japan, however, that's a different story.
Yeah, I think, especially in Japan, they came off the heels of Dragon Quest that was already established as a huge franchise, and Earthbound, in a lot of ways, was just trying to ride off the success of the Dragon Quest series while also being its own thing. But you can see so much inspiration from those particular games, like the first-person combat, and also party members following behind you and stuff like that. But of course, it does something else. It tries to start you off in Americana, and then it just takes you in all sorts of weird modern world places and stuff like that. So it really separates itself from Dragon Quest, and frankly, between the two of us, I think that Earthbound is way better. I think it's it's much more iterative. Yeah, so I like it way, way more, and I think that in Japan it did phenomenally well. I think it did really, really well. And then out here in the US, not so much, but it has certainly grown into a phenomenon, I would say, out here.
Agreed. I think it's really interesting that the series as a whole was kind of like inspired by Stand By Me, which is a movie that I know you and I mutually both love.
Sure, yeah. I love those movies, or that particular movie, and there's definitely a lot of influence there. Funny enough, a lot of the original team members that worked on Earthbound went on to do Pokemon, and one of the first things you see in the startup of Pokemon is the main character describing Stand By Me on the television set.
Oh, so that's kind of cool. And also Bag of Dragonite. Dragonite obviously became a Pokemon later, too.
That's right.
Oh, I just thought about how old MySpace is a second ago. We're fucking old. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mary. So, like I was saying, our first fight, friendly fight that we had, it wasn't that friendly, but that first fight we had was over who was a bigger Earthbound fan, and then you started just, like, listing trivia questions at me that I couldn't answer, and I was getting so mad, because clearly you were the bigger fan.
I don't even remember this, but yeah, I mean, well, go ahead.
Okay, because I'm gay and I hold on to things like that, so... Just because, like, you're the bigger fan does not mean that Earthbound doesn't have a special place in my heart, because, like, obviously, as a queer person living in America, especially in the year 2025, there's a lot to really empathize with in the stories. How do you say his name? Shigesato Itoi?
Yeah, so it's funny because all the time growing up I was saying Shigesato Itoi, but then there was that one Nintendo Direct where, what was it? Satoru Iwata actually talked about him for a brief moment, and he just kind of said it in such a way I was like, what did he even say? It's like, Shigesato Itoi? And I was like, whoa.
Okay, Duska.
Shigesato Itoi, who was already an avid gamer himself, to develop his first idea for a game. That series, called Mother in Japan, and released here in America as Earthbound, proved to us that ideas take on a special appeal when they become interactive.
Apparently, this was very rare in the 90s, but he wanted to portray gay people or queer people in general as just a normal part of life, and he's quoted as saying this, and I can't tell you, like, in the 90s, first of all, that is kind of a big deal, but for a Japanese businessman and artist to say that so publicly, like, that's kind of iconic.
You just didn't really see it a lot in the 90s.
No, you didn't. And, you know, like, I remember back in the 90s, you know, gay was still kind of, like, taboo. Like, ooh, you know, like, gay character. Reduced to a stereotype, like that monster from Goosebumps, like, what's it called? That, Horrorland? Have you ever seen that episode?
Oh, yeah.
that very, very flamboyantly, obviously queer-coded monster who did makeup. Like, that's what we were reduced to.
Oh, my dear. Oh, my heavens. Oh, my stars. Oh, my word. Well, there's not much I can do with them, is there? Oh, well, they call me the miracle worker.
Stop! My God.
One thing that I find really particularly intriguing about Itoi is that even in the 90s, he had a very positive view on queer people. Even going as far as to say that, you know, queer people are a part of everyday life. And as far as the Magypsies go from Mother 3, he even says that if you were to encounter, like, a Magypsy in real life, he would hope that you would treat them with the same dignity and respect that you treat everybody else. And the fact that he even values representation really speaks volumes of his character. You know, one might even call him woke.
And that's not the first time that the Mother series has really spoken to me. As far back as Mother 1, or Earthbound Beginnings as we know it here in America, Mary actually kind of, you know, appealed to me too. And I'm not talking about you, Mary. I'm talking about Mary from Earthbound Beginnings.
Yeah, this is why I hate my name. I get this all the time.
Like, it's not explicitly queer, but she's obviously trapped in the land of Magicant, which is a figment of her own imagination. And I think a lot of queer people can kind of, like, empathize with that, because I know for myself, I mean, you were one of the first people I came out to. And you were just like, no wonder why you play as Princess Zelda as your main in Super Smash Bros. And Chun-Li in Street Fighter. And honestly, Mary, that kind of saved me, so, like, thank you.
But going back to Mary living in her own little world is something that I think every little queer kid who has been trapped in the closet can absolutely relate to. That really speaks to me. She's just trapped in this world and she really doesn't really have any sense of who she is. And I think a lot of queer people can really relate to that, even though it's not explicitly queer.
It's sort of like this one in particular is more of like an educational experience for me. It's like, oh, well, let me just sit and listen and hear more about how like this kind of reflects on your personal life, you know, because
when I went out to go see you in Middle America, I'm not going to say exactly where in the Midwest, but, you know, like, I think for the first time, like, away from the Northeast, you saw exactly what it was like for just a gay man to exist out in public.
Oh, yeah, it was way worse. I mean, you know, so when we were out in the East Coast, where, you know, it's a little more liberal, but we walk around and generally speaking, there was just a lot more acceptance. I just felt like we weren't seen regardless.
Right.
And one or two stories aside, which, you know, we spent a lot of time together, so it was sort of like, okay, you know, this is just normal everyday life. It also makes you sort of question, like, is it really that bad? Or, you know, like the sort of level of scrutiny that gay people seem to endure. But like out in the Midwest, God, it was a completely different story. Every 2 seconds there was smirks, there was little sassy comments, you know, all sorts of things. And had you been here even longer, who knows how much worse it could have gotten, frankly. Though I just want to say really quick that you took all that in stride. Like, I'm over here going like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed that like this is happening to him. And you just seem to know exactly how to roll it off your shoulders, it seems like. There was one guy when we went to go park at a bridge festival. He was like, there's got to be a lot of pretty girls at this festival, boys. That was obviously a comment to try to like antagonize us in a small way. And I just said, well, I'm taken. I was at the time at least. And you were like,
not interested.
Yeah.
Well, who knew Earthbound would teach me to be true to myself?
Kim Kardashian.
Hi, this is Charles, the editor of this video. Fossil Daddy gave me the liberty to cut in and promote my upcoming animated pilot, The Incredible Adventures of Detective Cat. It's a 2D animated series about an eccentric freelance sleuth who loses his magnifying glass. With the help of his loyal companion Ashley Pooch, he conquers his fears and faces off the voluptuously wicked Foxy Fatale, voiced by Elsie Lovelock. If you're a fan of 90s Saturday morning cartoons such as Darkwing Duck, Animaniacs, Batman, and Freakazoid, this may be right up your alley. And if you love indie animation and wish to support this show, head on over to my Ko-fi page and donate. Is it Ko-fi? Coffee? This will help me pay for my crew and possibly get this done by Christmas, so head on over there.
Just do as I tell you, Twink.
And now, back to the show.
Speaking of Earthbound, like, we can't ignore the character Tony in Mother 2, which is not just my interpretation, it's canonical that Tony is gay. Which we love that for Tony. I've been with a few Tonys. They're always fun.
Oh. What could you put a number to that? Maybe. No, don't do that.
Homosexuals. Damn homosexuals.
So, growing up and playing the game, I didn't catch on to it. It was almost like he was like a coded character. But honestly, on repeat playthroughs, it's more like a somewhat closeted character almost, I guess. It's
well, I mean, he would have to be in the 90s.
Yeah, exactly. It was so it was kind of cool because, you know, at a certain point, Shigesato Itoi, he like said, you know, this is a character that I wrote to be gay. And then when you go back and play it, you're like, oh my God, it's so obvious now. What the heck?
Yeah, so him and Jeff. Obviously, there was a crush there. And I remember kind of relating to that, because I remember when I was a kid, I had my crushes too, and they would manifest in really weird ways, because I didn't quite understand myself then. I was like, why am I feeling this feeling about that boy in the classroom? Or Mr. Shondak, my math teacher. Mr. Shondak. if you were watching, which I doubt you are, because this was what, almost 40 years ago, my question is, are you still hot?
Wave your pride flags and wear rainbow color.
I just really love the freedom that Earthbound gave me, like, compared to any other game at the time. Like, I could name myself, I could name all of my allies, I could name my favorite thing and my favorite food, which I definitely did not abuse.
Oh, you totally did. I've seen the files. I've seen those save files.
Bussy, we don't carry such trash here.
Right. This is a dignified show, right? Right?
No. Like, I remember we were trying to play through it ourselves, and you just, like, you had a hard time playing the game with me because of how unserious I was with the naming process.
Oh, yeah. It was funny, dude. It was really funny. It's just like, I was the straight man, and you were definitely...
PK Bukaki!
Yeah, oh my god.
No. I said no. You can kill all that right now. Like, at this moment, stop.
What do you think of the Magypsies?
It's very, like, in your face, sort of like you're either going to be uncomfortable by it, and hopefully, like, you learn over time that these are characters that help the player through, and you kind of walk out with an experience that you feel more accepting if you had uncomfortable feelings, or you're very familiar with this and you're just like, cool, it's really nice to see this represented in a video game, you know, to some degree. I mean, like, obviously they're not a perfect reflection of everyday life, they're meant to be mythical creatures,
right? Yeah, and they're probably not a perfect representation of trans or non-binary people either, you know, but like you said, they are mythical creatures. They're not necessarily like human. That kind of reminds me of a Magypsy that I had in my real life back in adolescence. So you and I grew up in the hood. Like, we can't really tiptoe around that. We did not grow up in the safest city.
Yeah, a different part. Like, I've been all over that city, and there's safer areas than others, and I've been in the bad parts for sure. You were in my life when I was in the worst.
And I lived in the bad part.
Yes, you did.
In fact, like, it was sometimes unsafe for me to hang out in my own neighborhood. And I remember I had to have been like 13, 14. I went up the street to play with my friends, and I was too busy catching salamanders and butterflies, and therefore my twin brother and our friend group abandoned me because they thought I was weird. But then I was also kind of just like by myself in, you know, the middle of the hood, and then there were a group of kids that I personally had problems with before because they, you know, would bully my friend group, and they caught me by myself. So they were antagonizing me. Obviously, they were planning to do something, and I tried to stay within viewing distance of some of my neighbors' houses, so I was just like walking around the block, and they were just like following me. So I was trying to make my way back home, but the only thing is, if I had to go back home, I had to go through like this little wooded patch, and I knew if I went through that wooded patch, it would have been game over. And as I was going down Blaine Street, this very, very gay man named John comes out in a flowing white nightgown and a pearl necklace. Like, everybody knew about him, and frankly, like, all the neighborhood kids found him really unsettling. But he came out and he started throwing things at the other kids, and he was like, "You back away! What are you doing? What are your intentions?" And then he had me come up on his porch until those kids were properly scared away. So, like, I got to kind of know him a little bit, and from there on out, like, I would always say hello to him. He would show me all these cool new pearl necklaces that he got from, like, Tibet, because, like, he was a world traveler, he did everything. I thought he was the coolest person once I finally got to know him, and he was super protective of me. Anytime I walked home from school, and he, like, saw me in the afternoon, he'd be like, "Brett, are you okay today? Anything happen at school? Is there anything you want to tell me that you can't tell anyone?" I think he might have known that, like, I was a little, you know, shit you not, he was the only adult in that neighborhood that I felt completely and utterly safe with. Despite, you know, like, all of the prejudices of my friend group at the time and some of the weird things they would say about him. Anyway, I tried to look him up recently because I wanted to thank him, you know, for looking out for me for back when I lived in that area. Only to find out that he died in 2023, so I am 2 years too late. I will never forget him, and honestly, I do think that he's worth remembering, which is why I'm bringing him up, and actually, he inspired this video after I found out he died. So I wanted to share that with you. And also, like, you were also one of my safe figures back then, too, even though we're the same age. And, like, no offense, but you're much weaker than I am. But I can tell you everything. And you would never judge.
What are you talking about? No, I remember that time I fought off 5 men at once who were homophobic towards you. I was like,
oh,
get
yeah.
behind me, Brett.
And they all had machetes.
Yeah, I mean, I still got the scars on my forearms to, thank God, though. I knew.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's why you wear your pixel art, wear sunglasses, because you lost an eye.
We were not supposed to talk about that.
But yeah, like, I think the Magypsies, like, they just really resonate with me on a personal level. And I didn't think about John until I played Mother 3 again. And I didn't realize, like, how important he was in my life, because he, like I said, he was one of the few adults that I felt absolutely safe with. I could tell him anything and I would never be judged. And I think all kids need that, but especially queer kids in 2025, when things are looking so gloomy for our communities.
Yeah, one of the things I do just want to kind of add to the conversation about the Magypsies is that if anybody has, like, a problem with them as far as not being proper representation, the way I always perceive them is that they're unapologetically themselves.
Right.
And they're kind and they're helpful. And they, there's nothing about them that kind of screams like we're a problem. There's nothing about them that feels like it's restrained for people that are uncomfortable with that topic or those groups of people. So in my opinion, it's a great way to represent just not a particular group of people, but just a total acceptance of, like, some people will have the want and desire and need to express themselves differently from everyday people or the most common people that you see, and that it's okay, and that these people can be good things in your life.
I seldom buy anything brand new, whether it's clothing, collectibles, or even video games. I prefer the environmentally friendly approach by buying secondhand, and that's where today's sponsor, Mercari, comes in. I'm actually really excited about this because I've been striving to only accept YouTube sponsors from products that I actually use or believe in. And I've actually been using Mercari for a few years now. Mercari is an online marketplace where people can buy and sell secondhand items. Kind of like eBay, only more user-friendly. And also better seller protections, and I know that from experience. Man, I've got some eBay horror stories, and you know what, I'm not even gonna get into that right now. So what some of you probably already know is I'm obviously a paleontologist, and I do sell a lot of my fossils on my Ko-Fi. But I also used to sell it on eBay until I had a terrible eBay experience. To which I then switched to Mercari back in 2019. Well, I don't really sell fossils on Mercari anymore, I have Ko-Fi for that. But I have been running a used gaming shop in Mercari for a little over 2 years now, and with a little effort, it has made me about as much money as a second job would. Like, roughly $9,000 over the last 6 months, just by flipping games and collectibles, and I've turned a side hobby into a solid income stream. Okay, and this is where it gets really fun. So I trade a lot of my fossil finds for rare used games. So if you have any old video games that you don't need, especially like mainline Pokemon games for the Game Boy, GBA, or the DS, email me at fossildaddy2.com, and I'd be happy to work out a trade with you for one of my fossilized dinosaur footprints, so that I can then sell those games in my Mercari store. Actually, a lot of my used games come from fossil trades, but that's not really the point. But if you are curious about that Mercari store, I am going to drop that link below. But if you want to check out Mercari for yourself, they have a sign-up deal. So if you sign up for Mercari with my link down below, when you buy something for the first time, you're automatically going to get $10 off your first purchase. Come on, tell me you don't want to buy a Legend of Zelda manga for $10 off. Like, you know you want it. Or, you know, like my current bundle deal of Star Tropics for the NES along with Paperboy for the NES, you know you want it. You know you do. Additionally, if you sign up using my link and you decide that you want to sell for yourself, well, when you earn your first $100 by selling or flipping anything, Mercari's gonna give you an additional $20. So if you're just looking to declutter, flip, or just save some money on secondhand finds, like this totally not Mercari-built Horus Horse-Collar figurine collection, check out Mercari and grab the extra savings while you're at it. Okay, fine, it was totally Mercari-built.
Is there anything else you want to add about Mother series as a whole?
Oh, as far as how it pertains to the LGBTQ or just in general?
In general, or a little bit of both.
I mean, I love this series dearly. It goes in so many different places. It makes you think about so many different things. And it does what I think the best type of media does, which is that it taps into all of your feelings, whether it be making you laugh, making you sad, making you have a sense of hope, or just educating you on the world and in some ways how it works, obviously through the lens of a highly fictional world, but there are little takeaways here and there, like the discussion that we had today.
Right, exactly. And also, what was the character in Mother 2? He kidnapped Paula and gave them to the clan, but he felt what was his name? He dies.
The car painter.
No, he dies in Foresight. Like
Everdred.
Everdred. Okay, so like he also had, I think, the ultimate redemption arc. Like he did something horrible and he felt guilty about it, and he made sure that you went in the proper direction to save Paula from being sacrificed by the clan. But you know, like I think that also speaks to like something that's very human. You know, like good people do bad things. And, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're bad people. And equally, bad people can redeem themselves and become good people. And I always liked that about Everdred's story. Even though it was, like, only told in very small slices, you know, that's kind of what I got from it. There's just so much deep meaning in this series in pretty much every angle you can look at. I mean, like, even if you're just really into beating up bag ladies on the street, like, this game's for you. Yeah, or if you want to steal a ruler from a new age hippie, you can do that.
With Everdred, I love his design. It's like sketchy uncle,
right?
A classic Chuko cartoon.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great analogy. I also really like that Mr. T is just like an NPC, like in pretty much every town.
That's amazing. Yeah, I don't think any kid in the 90s looked at that sprite and didn't think of Mr. T immediately.
Oh yeah, I still do.
And it's so weird they never went as far as to do the I pity the fool kind of like referencing.
Well, I think that was actually trademarked, that line.
Oh, well, if nothing else than just his cadence.
Fair.
They all kind of talked in a very plain sort of way.
They did, yeah. Or they would just say like off the wall shit like every other NPC.
Yeah. There's so many great moments in that game, like the spooky mook.
Oh man.
Yeah, and then he calls you over the PA. It's just like
that was one of my favorite. Like at the department store, that was great.
Yeah, that, and also the little whirling robot that the Runaway 5 come in last second and like
just
turn
beat
off like the little switch.
Like as you're like beating the crap out of it, like the switch was like. Yeah, I don't know. That whole game.
It's so fun.
It's such a brilliant game. The music is phenomenal. I've been using the music throughout the entirety of this video, and also all of my other videos. I have a lot of Earthbound sounds, like this one.
Okay, Scott.
You might have noticed it. I know quite a few of you have commented on it, either positively or negatively. This isn't a call-out, by the way. You know who you are.
That's freaking funny. All right, quick question for. I feel like I already know the answer to this, but Earthbound or Mother 3?
Oh, okay. It's really tough because I love the games, but I do have to say Earthbound Mother 2, simply for the nostalgia of it. Like, this was the very first game in my collective memory that I remember being really excited about when it came out. Like, because I was like on the cusp of like being a bigger kid at the time, I remember being excited about things before that, but it was usually like a birthday or Christmas or things that adults told me I should be excited about, but I wasn't really. This was like the very first thing that I was truly excited about on my own accord, And then I went to go get it, and I was surprised that there wasn't a line out the door to get the game. Because frankly, like, Nintendo Power, like, you know, got me excited about it, and I'm glad they did, but I was also kind of disappointed that I was one of the only people that played the game. What was it, 1993 or 1994? It was like
1995.
Oh, wow, okay, so like a long-ass time ago. Oh yeah, the year after The Lion King. I remember now.
Yeah. That's our barometer. How young is it compared to The Lion King?
Yeah, Lion King came out November 7th, 1994. Do not ask me how I know that, but I do.
Wow. I thought it was a summer month, because I just remember...
No, it's November. It was like either the 7th or the 8th, and I remember because we went to go see it in theaters right after Halloween, and then we loved it so much we saw it again. And then we saw it a third time. Like right around Christmas. So, yeah. We're old. We're like MySpace old.
Remember MySpace? Your cities.
Yeah. Oh my god. MySpace was so...
AOL Instant Messenger.
Can I just say, MySpace was so much better than fucking Facebook? Like, okay, I legit... on my MySpace, you could play Street Fighter 2 from beginning to end. Like, what other social network can you do that on?
What?
Yeah, like I had it embedded in my MySpace page where you could play Street Fighter 2. I mean, granted, you could only play as Ryu, but like, whatever. That was cool as shit.
I didn't know you could do that.
Facebook would never.
Would never.
Never. Never.
Yeah.
Now, for closing, like, is there anything that you would like to see in the future in regards to Mother, or, what would, like, if they were to announce a new game? Like, I know they said they're not ever gonna do that, but who knows, like, you never know what the future might bring. What would your hopes be for it?
Honestly, more than anything, I just want a modern remake of Earthbound. I think that, sadly, if there was a Mother 4, it wouldn't really hit the expectations that I would have for it, because Mother 3 didn't. Like, it's an amazing game.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that it exists. But it's missing so many things that makes Earthbound so charming to me.
Like the quirky NPCs.
Well, the quirky NPCs, they're there for the most part.
But they're not as quirky.
Like, the thing that I think really pulls it back for me is that it has like a hub world, a hub area that you keep going back to, and it does serve the plot of the game, but at the same time too, it just feels like a smaller adventure because of that.
It does.
And then it's more like narrative driven than Earthbound was. Earthbound feels more like an adventure that you're going through, whereas Mother 3 feels like a story that's unfolding for you.
Right, that does make a lot of sense, and I think I have the same criticism. Like, I just want to go...
And then lastly, of course, it's like... I know that, again, it's what they wanted for this particular game, but I really wanted to see that 90s Americana come back.
Agreed.
And we didn't really get that, so... And with Mother 4, like, clearly we have the ability to kind of take the series wherever they want, and I would still be excited to see it. But if I only got to choose one, I would want a nice solid 3D remake of Earthbound with the clay models, so like make the art style clay.
Oh my god, that would make me so happy. Like a claymation
and you can like
video
spin the
game.
camera. Yeah, make the entire map and everything like 1-to-1, but also allow the players to like spin the camera like around like a Dragon Quest 11 like type camera.
I would love that. Honestly, like I want that to happen. Let's petition for that to happen. By the way, if you like this video, I have a Ko-Fi page. If you want to become a member, I have exclusive content. I show off some of my fossils, like the ones in the shelves that I've collected personally, like on a daily basis. And you can also get some bling, and also some fossils, like if you're a higher tier member. And if you want to support my friend Mary here, how can they support you?
It's Shesez, gosh.
Okay.
Oh,
I know where that's
from. It'd be really
from.
great. That was just my general reaction. But what is it from? Is it from the Merlin's Shop of Magical Wonders?
Exactly, Merlin's Magical. From what's it called? Mystery Science Theater. Yeah. Oh my god, I remember. Like you and I used to watched that religiously, and that was like our
It
favorite
was so
episode.
funny. It was so freaking
That
funny.
arguably, that's what my channel is becoming, just a gay mystery science fan at 3000, which is fine.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, but that's not a bad thing at all.
No.
Yeah, so as far as where you can find me, like, I have that main channel, but, like, really, frankly, if you want to support me and help me, I have a news channel called Shesez the News, where I just get on camera and just talk about stuff that's happening in the game world. And, you know, if you followed me there and watch my stuff, every person counts because it's such a small channel right now. So that's where I would like to focus fire people if they're willing to help.
Yeah, I'm sure they're willing to help. Actually, when I announced in my Discord that I was doing a recording with you, they're like, how the fuck do you know him? Oh my god, he's great. So, like, I'm sure they didn't even know that you had a second or third channel. So, like, there you go. He has one. Go over. Support it.
Well, thanks, Fossil Daddy fans. I appreciate the fact that someone out there is like, he's so great.
Do as I tell you, Twink.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I love that little bit.
Ugh.
So funny.
Kim Kardashian.
So good.
Alrighty, dude. Well, thank you again for doing this video with me. It has been a lot of fun, and hopefully I get to come see you soon. Because, like, shit has been crazy here, shit's been crazy over there, and things are about to get a lot crazier with this new administration.
Yes, so come over here. Promise on this video right now that we'll have a social media post made within the next 2 months of us.
Okay, I promise on Snorlax's life, and also on this bucket of shark teeth that I found in Florida. So that, like, now I can't take it back. But finish. What am I promising to? What am I committing to?
Oh, that you'll come out here and we can hang out. But
Yeah.
I might be actually going to Massachusetts in May, so.
Oh, for PAX East, I'll be there too.
Yeah.
Say hello if you see us.
Yes, please do.
I'm gonna be dressed as a gay Pokemon trainer. Gay Pokemon trainer Red. Or maybe I'll go as Ness. I don't know.
I think I'm just gonna dress as a straight YouTuber. But, you know.
As a straight ally.
Yeah, straight ally.
Oh, why is my camera glitching?
I saw that.
I guess I'm
I'm
loud.
boundary breaking.
Oh, I'm boundary breaking. Help me. No, actually, it's.
Wait,
the mook.
isn't
The
that,
mook. The mook.
Oh my god, you might want to censor that because that's actually like
I know.
a derogatory term.
I thought about that after I said it, but no, I'm talking about like the Earthbound like department store monster.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my God.
mook, the spooky
The
mook.
The spooky mook is like summoning me right now.
Make sure to censor that. You will get in a lot of trouble.
And make sure to like and subscribe on not only my channel but also Mary's. I mean, Shesez.
Shesez. Thank you.